Hi, friends. Welcome to the slideshow about the author's purpose, a chance for us to review that reading focus that we had before we went on this break. So, the author's purpose is the reason an author writes a story. Understanding the author's purpose is easy as P-I-E, pie. Each of those letters in pie stands for something. The P is for persuade. The author is trying to make you believe or agree with something. Mo Willems definitely tried to persuade us in Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. Do you guys remember the pigeon using every possible method out there to try and let him drive the bus? Thankfully, we didn't, but the pigeon was trying to persuade you. Questions to ask yourself. Is the author trying to change my mind? And is the author trying to get me to do something? The I in pie is for inform. The author is trying to teach you something. The reason authors write nonfiction books is to inform us about a topic. So all those great nonfiction books we read this year, books about sharks, books about polar bears, even that book about how milk gets into cartons and we go and buy it from the grocery store. All those were written to inform us, to teach us something. So questions to ask yourself. Is the author trying to teach me something? Am I reading to learn? E is for entertain. The author is writing a book for you to enjoy. The author might make you feel different emotions. You might laugh or feel a little scared or even cry. These books are written so that we can read them for fun, even though most have important messages. So any of the books that we read this year that made us laugh so hard together, a lot of those Mo Willems books, because we all know he's really great at humor, right? Especially fairy tales. Those are all books written to entertain. So questions to ask yourself. Is the author telling me a story? And did the author make me laugh? So now it's time to practice. I will read a few stories to you, and you try to guess if I'm writing to persuade, inform, or entertain you. Ready? Let's go. Story number 1. Mrs. Hamelder and Mrs. Young have the best dance moves of any teachers. They can boogie down and bust all of the best moves. If you had to pick the teachers who dance the best, you should totally pick them. Was I writing to persuade, inform, or entertain you? Persuade. I was definitely trying to convince you that myself and Miss Young, we have the best dance moves, right? Story number 2. Mrs. Bruno and Mrs. Wieselberg posted the following rules for walking in the hallways at school. 1. Hands at our sides. 2. All eyes forward. 3. Lips zipped. 4. Legs slow. Mrs. Bruno and Mrs. Wieselberg posted these rules so that the students would know how to walk in the hallways at school. Was the purpose of the list to persuade, inform, or entertain? Inform for sure. They wanted the students to have that information so they could learn the correct way to walk through the hallways. Story number 3. Once upon a time, Mrs. Coote and Mrs. Hoffman went for a walk in an enchanted forest. While there, they met a magical unicorn. The unicorn offered to grant both Mrs. Coote and Mrs. Hoffman one wish each. Mrs. Coote wished for rainbow hair. Poof! Her hair turned into a beautiful, long, flowing locks of rainbows. Mrs. Hoffman asked for a car that could fly. Zoom! She flew home that day in her flying car. Was I writing to persuade, inform, or entertain you? Entertain. Definitely. That was a lot of fun fiction, but, it was just there to entertain us. Story number 4. Miss White and Miss Turk both said that the Saints are the greatest team in the NFL. They explained that the Saints are the best because they have the best colors, the greatest fans, and the best quarterback of all time. Miss White and Mrs. Turk really want you to love the Saints too. So what are those teachers trying to do? Persuade, inform, or entertain? Persuade, my little hoodats, exactly. All right, the last story, story number 5. Miss Martinez couldn't figure out where Miss Melanson was going on the weekends. Miss Melanson wasn't answering her cell phone. When she came into work on Monday mornings, her hair was all wet. So one Friday afternoon, Miss Martinez followed Miss Melanson after school. Instead of going home, Miss Melanson went to Lake Pontchartrain. It turned out Miss Melanson was a mermaid. Miss Melanson taught Miss Martinez to swim like a mermaid so that they could have fun together on the weekends. What was the author's purpose? Persuade, inform, or entertain? To entertain, absolutely. Now we know why Miss Melancon's room is so ocean themed, right? All right, so this week, focusing on figuring out what the author's purpose is for each story you read. Make sure to talk with a grown up about your thinking. Watch the read aloud videos provided and use Raz Kids to practice this skill. It's easy as pie. P for persuade, I for inform, and E for entertain. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.